Hello, I'm Andrea Cooley with Des Moines Moms Blog, and tonight we are excited to be in Dayton, Iowa, at Kelly Blair's farm, and we are with Common Ground Iowa, which is an organization of women farmers who are passionate about farming and families. So we are going to learn a little bit from Kelly Blair and Val Plaguey about the farms that they have and their families, and just answer any questions that you might have about farming in Iowa, and just share about their farms. So I will start with Kelly, if you can tell us about your family and your farm.
Yeah, so we are the fourth generation of Blairs on our farm. It's my husband's family, and we farm corn, soybeans, cattle, and we have 2 kids. And I guess our kind of motto on our farm is continual improvement, because every year we try to get a little bit better, and we know we're not the best, but we keep trying anyway. So
That's great. And what about your farm, Val?
Yeah, so I am a 5th generation farmer. My husband's a 4th generation, so I've got one up on him.
Yes.
But we farm in north central Iowa near Latimer, and I like to tell everyone we raise corn, beans, pigs, and kids. So we have 4 children, and with both of us home on the farm, they're fully engulfed in the everyday practices. They have no other choice but to help mom and dad with our family business.
That's great. That's great that you guys are continuing the tradition and passing it on to your kids as well. 2 quick things that I forgot at the beginning. We'd love to have you guys comment if you have any questions, and we also will choose a winner from the comments for a $25 ethanol gift card from Iowa Common Ground. So we will choose that winner on Sunday at midnight. So you have until then to enter comments or questions. But wanted to talk a little bit more about farming and maybe misconceptions that people have. And I think one topic that people hear a lot about and maybe don't know about are GMOs, so genetically modified organisms.
Yep.
So why, Kelly, why do you plant with GMOs?
Yeah, so actually we plant both GMO and non-GMO, and so we have a mixture on our farm. But GMOs to us really aren't a big deal, because they're just another kind of seed that actually protects itself from the inside from pests like bugs, and it's just another tool in our toolbox to keep risk low when we plant the crop, because like we said, our livelihood depends on the crop, and we're both full-time farmers with our husbands, so we want to make sure that whatever crop we're putting in is going to make it. And for us, we trust the experts that put the research and the time into those GMOs, and I fully trust that, and I feel that it's just another way for us to make sure that we're going to get that crop in and it's going to grow well.
That's great.
I was going to say, Kelly talked about how their motto is continually improving, and GMOs is a way for us on our farm to continually improve. This year we had kind of a shortened season because of rain. I'm sure everyone remembers how wet it was this spring. So farmers have always been changing and adapting and looking for those traits that they want in a crop. And we needed something that was going to grow well, have a sturdy stalk, and still give us the yield at the end of the season. And GMOs is just a way of pinpointing exactly what we need into the plant, so we can still have a successful year after a rough start.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, and so that crop we need to protect from pests, whether it be insects or weeds or whatever. Like I said, we grow both non-GMO and GMO, and sometimes we can put a third less pesticides on the crop on that GMO versus the non-GMO. So for us, it's a great way to protect ourselves as well, to make sure we're using less on that crop, and it's doing it itself. So we don't have to help it. It's doing it on its own, and it's a good thing in my mind.
Yeah, no, I think those are great points. Can you talk to a little bit, either of you, about conservation and how you do that on your farms?
Yeah, I think conservation for us is a pretty big thing. So we've reduced a lot of our tillage, which is after the crop is taken out, where you actually till up the field and you roll the dirt over. We've quit doing that on a lot of our crops, and we plant cover crops, so there's something growing a little more out of the year. And really what it comes down to is we know as farmers that it's good for the environment, but we also know that as young farmers we're going to be here for a long time, so we're trying to make sure we keep the soil on the farm, and we're doing things right. And some decisions are a lot easier to make than others. You know, we have 1 year to put in that crop, and once we put it in, we got to wait till the next year. So we really got to make those decisions, sometimes on a smaller scale, to figure out what we're doing. But you know, conservation is a pretty important thing, because Val and I both have kids that we're pretty worried about, and we want to make sure they're seeing us do the right thing.
Right. Well, you know, you don't get to bring in more dirt. You know, what you have is what you're going to have the entire time you're farming it, and you want to make sure you're taking care of it the best way possible. So that's how come every farmer knows their farm and knows their ground. Just kind of like how you know how your kids are different, well, your fields are different. So you know what works best with them and how you can take care of it best. And for us, a big conservation thing is adding waterways. We've had a lot of water, it seems like, the last few years. So we've really been able to tell where that natural flow of water is. So we've added waterways, so then that water can flow straight through grass rather than our crops. And also it helps reduce erosion in our fields, and it just is a win-win for us and for the ground.
And along the way, you know, again, back to continual improvement, is we learn a lot throughout the year. We're my husband and I are taking water samples out of our subsurface tile drainage, and we're learning a lot about what's coming out of that tile, and so we can figure out ways to maybe reduce nitrates that are in that water with cover crops or something else. And so you know, every year we learn a little bit more and we try a little bit more. It may seem like a slow process, but again, you know, we only have a certain amount of time to make those decisions and those changes, and but we continue to try to learn and be open-minded. So
I was going to say, I think technology also is helping a lot with conservation. Besides like water samples, we also take soil samples, so we know where in our field we're lacking certain nutrients, and rather than just broadcasting over the entire field, we can pinpoint where that nutrient needs to go, so we can you know, kind of fuel and feed that ground the way it needs to be fed, and rather than just over the entire field. So technology is quite amazing. We have maps in our tractors, digital maps, that then we can also take onto our computers at home. We do a lot of ours on an iPad, and you know, we also then map where we plant certain hybrids. We're trying different types of corn and types of soybeans, so we know what grows best, and it's all linked together so we can have the best output for our field and for our crops in the end.
That's great. I think it's so interesting to learn about these things and to hear, you know, Kelly and Val are moms just like we are. You know, they may live on farmland, but they're still feeding their families and making, you know, choices for how their families can be healthy, and they're also, you know, helping to feed the rest of us. So we're just excited to partner with them and excited to share more around the farm tonight. So we'll be doing a farm tour on our Instagram, so stay tuned for that. And remember to comment below if you have any questions, and if you'd like to be entered in the drawing for the $25 ethanol gift card. All right, thank you.
Thanks.